Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. And damn, don't you hate the international break. It's been far too long. It's been a minute. I just can't wait to be back with proper football, which of course returns on Saturday. And of course now the rumour mill of Leeds United, the news coming out about Leeds United, previews, reviews, off-ball chat, you know, live streams, it's all back. We will be back tonight at 9 o'clock as well, doing a bit of a live stream, looking at the season so far and what's to come between now and the next international break, now and Christmas, really. Without further ado, though, today we're going to be talking about Jaidon Anthony and something that I've heard on the grapevine that might, you know, upset a few people. There might be some people calling cap and saying I'm full of shit. I can only go on the information that I've been given. So without further ado, let's get into it. Before we do, smash a like, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace! Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be... Oh, when have we got Leeds? So folks, let's talk about Jaidon Anthony, because I have it on pretty reliable information that clubs are potentially inquiring, or at least speaking to Jaidon's camp, to his agent, to find out if he could be recalled from his loan in January and potentially move somewhere else. Why are clubs doing this? Well, it comes down to game time, doesn't it? I know a lot of people will say, yeah, but he's played a lot of games. What are you talking about, Joe? But when you actually deep it, Jaidon Anthony has played just 4 more minutes of football whilst being at Leeds than he did in the 3 games for Bournemouth in the Premier League. So you can imagine he's coming to this football club expecting to be a starter. I know Bournemouth fans are unhappy about the loan deal anyway, because they feel they've got a bit of a dud. And Jaidon Anthony had played 3 games, had started 2, and had totalled up 152 minutes. Now, at Leeds United, he's played 6 times, only has 1 start, okay? And has totalled up 156 minutes. In terms of 90s, it's 1.7 worth of 90s for both sides, and he's had double the amount of opportunities at Leeds United. And Jaidon Anthony's probably thinking, well, listen, I've come from the Premier League, I've been and done it in the Championship. Last time I was here, I played over 30 games. What's going on? And look, even of the games he has played, the most he's played was a 1-0 win against QPR, of which he got 64 minutes. The next game, he's off the bench, he plays 13. Prior to that, it's 18 minutes, it's 11 minutes, and 28 just before that in his debut in a 0-0 draw away at Hull. So you can understand why he may be, or others will be inquiring about him, because Jaidon Anthony, for me, Rutter aside, is probably the best attacking player we have. And I know it's just a small sample size, but whenever I see him get the ball, I never think he's going to lose it. He releases it at the right time and always looks like he could make things happen. Now, for me, the same can't be said of Dan James. I think Cree Somerville, as much as I'm a fan of him, he drifts in and out of games. Whenever I've seen Anthony, I've been impressed, and I feel that he should be starting. Now, will he be starting games? Well, isn't it quite interesting? He plays against QPR, then Dan James is back in the side. Dan James is doing well, though. Dan James has been doing well on international duty with Wales and has, I believe, the most assists in the league. I mean, you can't really argue with Dan James's output. He's got 5 goal involvements, 4 assists and 1 goal. Now, of course, it's yet to be seen or confirmed whether or not Jaidon Anthony has a get-out clause, whether or not he has a recall clause and he can indeed leave Leeds United, because we believe he was tied up with the Sinisterra deal. You don't know if they're 2 separate loans, and maybe this will be on a journalist to inquire maybe and ask Daniel Farker about this, if indeed it does come out into the press. It might not even do that, because they might ask the question and might be told by Bournemouth or by Leeds there is no get-out clause. But I know for fact that people are at least speaking to his camp about the potential of him maybe going somewhere else in the Championship. I wonder if Bournemouth fans would take him back. I would argue they probably would, because Sinisterra's doing nothing. And look, the facts are, if we're being real, Jaidon Anthony would have expected to play more minutes than he has done so far. I get we're only 11 games in. I get he came in late into the window. But ultimately, he's amassed just 4 extra minutes than he did at Bournemouth, who were playing in the Premier League. So you can understand from his standpoint why this rumblings may be happening, why clubs might be looking at it and saying, do you know what? We could do with him. Let's take Sunderland, for example, right? I'm just putting it out there in the ether. Sunderland may be due bids for Jack Clarke in January, okay? You've got clubs like Burnley looking at him, even Brentford looking at Jack Clarke. Could they then go and approach Jaidon Anthony and say, do you know what? If we can get money for Clarke, then we can go and get Jaidon Anthony on loan and he would do that job. You've got clubs like Ipswich, you've got those at the top of the table, even Leicester City. There's a number of clubs that might look at him and say, look, we can offer you more game time. You came to Leeds United to get more game time. So for me, I want him to get more game time. I do not want Jaidon Anthony to leave the football club in January if he continues to not, get a lot of minutes. Because ask yourself the question, if you're being genuine, do you believe that Jaidon Anthony will get more minutes? I don't think Daniel Farke uses his subs as often as I would like. They're very late in games. Therefore, the minutes are very minuscule, as I've mentioned to you. 18, 11, 16, whatever minutes he's getting. I think Dan James is his guy at the minute. You've got Somerville, you've got Nonto coming back. Could Mateo Joseph play there? I just feel that Jaidon Anthony, for me, should be starting. Do you think Farke feels the same? I would argue, based on current situation at the football club, that's not the case. He prefers Dan James. I disagree, but you cannot grumble with Dan James's numbers, as I've said. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I thought it's worth me putting it out there and having a conversation about this fact just to see what people's reactions are to that potential news. I mean, what would that mean for Leeds United? Well, for me, it would mean we would have to enter the market again. We would have to go and replace Jaidon Anthony. Now, the club will be happy keeping him, of course. Squad option, you keep him around. But is Jaidon Anthony and his camp happy with him being a squad option? I don't think they will be. Now, as I said, we need to wait and see whether or not there is a clause in his loan contract that will enable him to exit in January, if indeed he wants to. But I know, as I said, that clubs are definitely inquiring about the possibility of taking him. Whether or not that's just conversations, but they are certainly doing that. So we'll have to wait and see, as I said, whether or not that comes to fruition and if it has legs. Not to be the bearer of bad news and all, but apparently Finlay Gorman might be on his way as well. A stalwart of the academy that's wanted by a host of clubs. And I believe Man City have won the race to that signature. How that looks, I'm not too sure, because obviously his age, etc. I think the YEP ran with the story that they were the front runners, but I'm led to believe from people in the content creation sphere that that deal could already be signed, sealed, delivered. So that's another that could be exiting, which is frustrating. And obviously when you're not a Premier League club, there's nothing really you can do. And when Pep Guardiola and Man City come a knocking, no matter how old you are, you're going to choose it. I'm sorry, it is what it is. Unless you're a grey. We heard as well on the Don't Go to Bed Just Yet podcast that Nick Hammond could be staying around longer than initially expected, which for me is a good thing. Apparently Angus Kinnear has come out and said the loan market's going to be used in January. And listen, we're not too far away from January. It'll be soon. Transfer time, late night Leeds and me doing 24-hour stints, but it's what we're in it for, right? But yeah, look, Leeds United definitely need to do more business. We probably still need a left back. We need a 10. We may even need a replacement for Jaidon Anthony. Just think it's going to be all a bit mad with these loan situations because it's not going well for some, is it? Jack Harrison's going all right. Adams is injured. Sinisterra's bombing. As is Aronson. Rasmus Llorente might be getting Jose the sack. We do not want these players back. As funny as I found it at the time, but yeah, inshallah they can turn their form around because we do not want them back. No. But yeah, listen, I'm going to round it off there. We'll chat later on tonight about the season so far and what's coming in the future. 9 o'clock, get it in your calendars. Make sure you join us, hit the notification bell. Thanks as always for watching. And yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds.